You probably wouldn't have ever guessed, but I am a huge Overwatch fan. I think that Overwatch is probably the game that I've put the most hours into, well, ever. If you had a question about the lore, balance changes, stats, abilities, Overwatch League, etc., I was the guy to ask. The thing is that the last time I played the game was a few months after they added Echo, which is well over a year ago. Since then, I've paid no attention to the game at all. I don't know anything about all the stuff I mentioned prior, and I don't really care to either. Overwatch 2 is in the same boat. Sure, if there's a new Overwatch 2 event, I will watch it, but I'm not going to watch hours of YouTube videos breaking down trailers or reading arguments on Reddit. Last Saturday, though, was different. The Overwatch channel had released a new trailer showcasing Bastion and Sombra's rework. I was freaking out because they removed Bastion's annoying ult where he becomes a literal tank. Instead he becomes a mortar, but now he can move while in sentry mode, which sucks because I hate Bastion. I also think that'll affect how you don't have to strategically place him anymore, since he can just run away from being shot and his critical hitbox is on his back, so he can literally just turn around the sensitivity all the way up to 100 and break the entire game. And after that I was like, what? Where did that come from? I had suddenly become that huge Overwatch nerd I used to be for a solid 2 minutes. Unfortunately, I continued to watch, and the Overwatch nerd in me and I grew a little worried. Blizzard says that Overwatch 2 will redefine what a sequel is. We have no clue what this means, so we'll just assume it means absolutely nothing. Since the announcement of Overwatch 2, we have seen little to no difference from Overwatch 1 in terms of structure. Sure, there are now 5 players instead of 6 and some new campaign stuff, but that's it. All this could have been added in things like expansions or patches. Overwatch 2 looks more like Overwatch 1.5 instead of a proper sequel. This is similar to Destiny 1 and Destiny 2 with little to no difference in gameplay or locations. Basically, Destiny 2 was just a better version of Destiny 1, but Destiny 1 was so bad that it needed a whole new game to fix it, especially since it lost its player base. Overwatch 1 is one of the best multiplayer games of all time that had and still has a large fan base. While yes, an Overwatch 2 would help reinvigorate old fans like myself, I still have a hard time wanting to go back if it's just the same game that I don't like to play. This is one of the reasons you won't really be seeing any of my Overwatch gameplay in the background. Well, it's also because I lost the disc, don't have the game installed, and I don't want to deal with Blizzard's PC launcher. You know what, maybe I should just buy it digitally. It shouldn't be too expensive. $60! Screw that! $60 for a 6-year-old multiplayer only game? What? This is like some Nintendo level stuff. Why can I only buy the Legendary Edition? But it's only $20 on PC. This really got me thinking about how Blizzard will monetize Overwatch 2. Overwatch 1 was one of the key players in popularizing loot boxes, despite them being fairly tame. I haven't spent any real world money on loot boxes, and I have gotten pretty much every skin that I wanted. In Apex, I also haven't spent any real world money, but I've opened a ton of free packs and I've gotten like only 3 legendary skins. I'm definitely not defending loot boxes, but I think that they are pretty fair in Overwatch 1. That's pretty good compared to games today that try to squeeze as much money out of you as possible. Unfortunately, this could all be changing with Overwatch 2. Not saying Blizzard was great in 2015, but compared to what they are today, they look like saints. Blizzard has said that they are exploring other alternatives to monetization. These other alternatives could be item shops, battle passes, and just everything else. Overwatch became a billion-dollar IP in just 3 years with tame microtransactions. Think about it. Blizzard execs are probably beating themselves up for not upping the monetization. The community of Overwatch 1 is still big, but not like other recent games. So you launch a sequel, get the people who left like me to come back and spend more money on more microtransactions. This could explain the lack of new content coming in Overwatch 1. Literally, the only thing we'll be getting new is co-op missions. Like seriously, that's it? Does 4-player first-person co-op online-only horde shooter sound familiar? Well, it should, because it's almost every single game that's come out recently. I don't want Overwatch Left 4 Dead. We got that with Junkenstein's Revenge every single year. I know that Blizzard promised to us no paid DLC, but I feel like this is something everybody would be fine if they added this as DLC. Everyone is really excited about all these new abilities you can unlock in these co-op missions, but I don't see it. Sure, turning into a giant snowball as Mei, Aaron please remove Mei, or having a 360 hammer strike as Reinhardt does sound pretty cool. Most of this stuff can be done in workshop mode. People are also excited for the new lore with actual animated cutscenes, and admittedly I was excited at first. but since then, I've kind of realized how little lore there is for Overwatch beside backstories. Don't get me wrong, Overwatch is some of the most interesting and deep lore there is in all of gaming, but it is literally all backstories. The farthest Overwatch lore progresses is when Winston sends out his call to rebrand the Overwatch members, and they have been hyping this up before Overwatch even came out. It's sort of like Street Fighter's storyline. Street Fighter 3 was a massive flop when it came out, and it wasn't until after Third Strike did people finally start to realize how good it was. Since it was such a massive flop, Capcom has had all Street Fighter games take place before Street Fighter 3 and have not progressed the storyline since. I was so tired of Ryu, the protagonist, complaining about the darkness inside of him. I thought there'd finally be something new after the plotline was resolved in Street Fighter V. It wasn't even resolved well, since it all happened off screen, but I was just happy it was finally over. It was like if all Luke Skywalker did was train and train and train, and never actually becomes a Jedi, and kills Darth Vader off screen. Now Capcom is teasing a Mortal Kombat style storyline reboot for Street Fighter 6, and I'm just so sick and tired of it. The same goes for Overwatch's story. Overwatch 2 is going to take place 1 year after Winston's recall. This is the first time we're getting actual story, but it feels way too late. The wait better be very well worth it. In terms of new stuff for the multiplayer, there's 1 new mode, 5 new maps, and 1 new character. This is the type of stuff you see in 1 season of content for other games, not an entire sequel. This is where Overwatch 1.5 comes from. They're bringing back all of the characters from Overwatch 1, which was expected, and we know that Overwatch 1 will be compatible with Overwatch 2, whatever that means. People argue the redesigns are a big change, and I would like to remind you that Blizzard has done this hundreds of times with skins. Alright, what else are they adding? That's about it. Oh crap. Yeah, we have to talk about this. Jeff Kaplan was the game director of Overwatch. He was also the face of Overwatch, and a really good one at that. He had an actual personality, and you would always look forward to hearing him talk. He made jokes that made fun of his own community.
So that means it's part assault and part payload. Now I know most of you don't know what payload is. So
first of all, he was a huge meme in the fan base, and he loved it. A great example is dinoflask videos. They were always a treat to watch.
The second half of Overwatch 2 will be released as an amazingly smooth dance performed by myself on different stages all over the world.
This man is a legend in gaming that we didn't deserve and is infinitely better when compared to other Blizzard faces.
No. And by the way, you don't want to do that either. You think you do, but you don't.
Speaking of other Blizzard faces, we have to talk about it. It's important to talk about, and it is very worrying when it comes to things like Overwatch. 5 months ago, Jeff Kaplan left Blizzard and passed the baton to Aaron Keller as the new game director. Look, I know Aaron's probably going to do a great job as he's one of the original Overwatch developers. It's just that I know Jeff, not Aaron. Jeff is the one that all the jokes were made about, not Aaron. It'll take a while before Overwatch 2 feels like Overwatch without Jeff. Now, there's the whole thing why Jeff left Blizzard. He never specifically said why, but I'm pretty sure we can infer. Blizzard is a very different company than the one he joined 2 decades ago. The workplace culture there is hellish, and the games coming out of Blizzard recently have definitely reflected that. If you don't know what I'm talking about, well, that sucks since I don't have time to explain it. If you search up Activision Blizzard on YouTube, you can find a very good explainer, but be warned, it's pretty graphic. Jeff Kaplan has spoken out against one of Blizzard's many issues, and this was the Blitzchung controversy. He did probably get in trouble with this, but it showed that he disagreed with current Blizzard and simply wasn't where he wanted to work anymore. I don't want Overwatch 2 to be bad. I want to go back to the golden age of Overwatch, but I don't want to get screwed over in the process. Blizzard still has not justified Overwatch 2's existence yet, and if it never does, this might be a big problem.